गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। ॐ योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्नाम् अन्याश्चहस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं प्राणान्नो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं। Do not go upstairs, listen to this information. Important, because you come from India, you belong to Sanatana Dharma, do you or don't? So you should know what is your background, what is your knowledge, the greatness, why this is not, the greatness of our culture, greatness of our scriptures, greatness of our discoveries. All that is there already given in our scriptures. What are our scriptures? The Vedas, the Puranas, the historical texts, Mahabharata and Ramayana, and the words of the great saints and sages. Vedas, what are they? I am telling you, it's not come here yet, but they are the scriptures which are revealed to the saints and sages or the rishis. Puranas are remembered scriptures from memory. By whom? By saints and sages. Itihas is fact as documented in the past. That is history, isn't it? Historical. So Ramayana was documented by whom? By Valmiki. Mahabharata was documented by whom? Maharishi Vedvyas. And there are words of saints and sages. The meeting that is going on, that Shaunakji Maharaj and Sut Maharaj, the Shaunak, he asked the question, ki, what is the, now we have heard everything, Sutji Maharaj asked, not here, keep it at the back so that everyone gets it. There's a point there? No, not that far. Where is the point?
There is the point.
And there's one here, is it? So put here then. I thought she was going to put it wrong in the middle of the people and turn it to those who are hot, or make them sit on it. ठीक है. Okay. So this is very important for you to know that Vedas, because you have not been exposed to all this, isn't it? Dad only goes himself, never takes you anywhere. Neither you nor Kailash. He has given you good names. And he makes, my dear Vilasini, only make all different types of food. I must expose them to this. So how did the Vedas are revealed? How did they get revealed? And there it was told, stop talking, Concentrate. I'll ask the questions. This is a class. I'll ask questions afterwards. So where did Vedas come from? If they are revealed, they came from where? There must be some source, isn't it? So while we are thinking ourselves to be in this world, then who is greater than us? We say it is God, isn't it? Which God? Again, there are different types of God, but who is the boss of all these three gods? He is Brahma, the creator. Do you know all this? No. Never. Kind of. Brahmaji, the creator, the one with the four heads. Why is Swamiji darkening me today? No, you too. You know it. Okay. So Brahmaji is the one with the four heads. He is the creator. Vishnu is the maintainer. And Shiva is the destroyer. And who's there? Where did they come from? They came from Ishvara, the unmanifest one, the all-pervading one. So, where did the ocean come from? From the waters. Without water, water is infinite. Ocean is not infinite. Ocean is very big. You can't see the horizon of the ocean. You can't see the perimeter, but water is much more infinite as compared to the ocean, isn't it? Same way, Ishvara is infinite, and Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, they have their specific positions. One is the creator, one is the maintainer, one is the destroyer. And everything in creation is getting created, it is maintained, it is destroyed. Just like you were created, you are maintained by dad's money and mom's food. And one day you will die. The body will die. You will not die. The body will die. Same way, this book, this mic, this computer, everything has come into existence. Whatever comes into existence must go away after some time. Now, this creator, so naturally, can the maintainer come before the creator? Can the destroyer come before creator? No. So first expression was creator. When he got created, where did he get created from? He got created from the navel. Imagine, from the navel of the Ishvara, the infinite one. From the womb of the Ishvara he came. From the navel. Stalk came out or he manifested. Just like, can you find out from where a thought arises in your mind? Can you find out? No. You can, but you have never done that. So, but from somewhere it comes, no? It cannot come from nowhere. It must be coming from somewhere. Similarly, the creator came from somewhere. Where he came from? He came from the Ishvara, or he came from the infinite. When he came, there was nothing. His job is to create, but there is nothing out there. So when he looked here, there, nothing there. And then he went into himself. He closed his eyes. When there is nothing to look, you close your eyes. So he closed his eyes. He became, because he was the first born, so he contemplated on himself. What is my purpose? Why am I here? You are also must have asked this question many times. Am I only for cooking? Am I only for lecturing? Am I only for listening? Am I only for taking care of kids and family? Am I only for work? What is the purpose of life? Is there some higher meaning to this life? Is it only slog, study? And anyone whom I ask, they say, whatever you have studied in school and college never will be used again. Then why are we studying? That's why I didn't study. Her eyes are open. Yeah. So he contemplated, and when he contemplated, what did he contemplate upon? When he closed his eyes, because there was nothing out there, it was empty. Is there sound always comes when two things clash against each other? If I My finger is tapping on it, so sound is coming. If I sound is coming, so always argument is always between two people. If two thoughts are fighting with each other, confusion, doubt, anger within yourself. So always two things are required in order for sound to be produced. But when there is nothing there, is there any sound? This is very important. Is there any sound? There is a movie called Sound of Silence. Have you seen? Audrey Hepburn. You must see it. Very beautiful. It's a classic. See it sometime. On SBS or ABC, they used to show it every year. Now they don't show it. Now Simpson. But see, Sound of Music, Audrey Hepburn. Beautiful musical movie. You will enjoy it. Anyway, so is there a sound of silence? I'm asking, not you, the kids. Is there sound of silence? What is it? So he says his sound of silence is silence. What do you say? Experience it right now. You say loudly. Ah, come here. Come here. Come here. Sit on this chair. Afterwards you can go back. Don't worry. But now you sit here. Ah, sound of silence. You said is.
It's not possible.
Oh, okay. Sound of silence is not possible. Close your ears with your fingers completely so that no sound is heard. Can you hear something? You try. I'm not making him only experiment. Press it so much that you can't hear anything from outside, and then tell me if you are hearing anything. Heard anything?
No.
Not far around, from inside. Say loudly. Yeah. Okay. Could you hear anything? Okay. Slowly. Yeah. Amma, you? If you little bit more practice, little bit more of calming of your mind, suddenly you will hear this which is going on. It's neither going up, neither going down. There is no oscillation in it. There is no vibration in it. It's just a constant and it's going on. Where it is started, where there is no beginning and there is no end. It just goes on. Now here. Now close your ears and see if you hear it. Can you hear it? He says yes. He says yes. You heard it? Okay. It's like, if you, for you, Daksha, or if whoever is learning music, there is a Shruti going on at the back. It's like that Shruti continuously. Did you hear that? Coming slowly. Mind has to, if the mind calms down a little bit more. Right now there's too much of, I'm a freak. I can hear it all the time. But common person, at night when you go to sleep, do this exercise. Okay? So Brahmaji, the creator, he heard this sound. And as he heard this sound, and there was no distraction, there was no other sound, He became focused on it. And as he became focused, this is called the sound of silence. It is the nad. It is the unstruck sound. And this unstruck sound, when it becomes manifest, it is called Om. It expresses as Om. It will come. If you become focused on it, someday, anytime it can happen. It can happen in sleep, it can happen in dream, it can happen in waking, it can happen when you are driving a car. The moment it's ready to manifest, it will take over your head. You can't think of anything. You can think, but you will not. You will hear this Om going on everywhere. So that Brahmaji heard Om. That Om then again, as it expressed, he focused on the Om. That Om became all the alphabets of Sanskrit language come from Om. Om is the mother. So if all the books and scriptures are burnt by the foreigners, if we have Om, we can bring it all back. So first the Om expressed as vowels. How many vowels are there in English? 5. What are they? You know how many are there in Sanskrit language? Huh? 13. A, A, I, U, Ru, Ru, E, I, O, Au, A. Understand one rule which they will never teach you in the school. The greater the variety, the greater the culture. The more is the variety, the greater is the culture. So you take from India, you have a language which has 13 vowels. You have a country, every 100 kilometers food is different, language is different, clothes are different. If you buy clothes only, every 100 kilometers the turban is different. Isn't it? Go to Maharashtra, different turban. In Maharashtra itself, the Nagpur people, they wear different turbans. You cross over into Andhra Pradesh, different type of turban. That style of tying the lungi also different. Dhoti. Isn't it? This is the variety. And variety makes life interesting. And then after first came the A became A became E became E, and slowly then when all these vowels started clashing against each other, then K, K, G, G, Ng, all those other total 51 or 50 or 52 alphabets they came about. Then from these, when the alphabets are combined together, you get words. Like in English language, there are only how many? 26, isn't it? Right? 26. We have 52, man. No other language has 52. Some have not even learned how to write. They still write in pictures. Chinese and Japanese. They have not learned writing, only pictures. Someone is learning Japanese, someone told. Now, so one more boy comes in the morning class today. He came. He is also learning Japanese. He is in year 9. But there it's pictorial. It is not language. So, words. When you join words, what comes? Good. When sentences are joined, what comes? Huh? Paragraphs. Paragraphs joined together comes passage or stories. Huh? Essay. Essays or chapters come together, then what is called a story or a book. Right? This is how the whole thing has come about. So today, this is such a thick book. My God, this is Purana. But what is it? It's all alphabets. Alphabets put together. In Sanskrit, we don't have passages. In Sanskrit, we do not have chapters we have. But instead, we have shlokas. We have sutras. We have chanda. These are different meters in which the language is spoken. So, for example, today when we chanted Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. This is called Anushtup Chandaha. This is a particular meter. Another one, Karpanya Dosho Pahata Swabhavaha Prichhami Tvam Dharma Sammudha Chetaha. See, different tune. It is called another type of chandas. Then there is something called sutra. Sutra is Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Full stop. Only 2 words. It says a sutra. Sutra means it is a formula. Formula, what can you do with a formula? You can expand it, you can open it up, isn't it? A formula is giving you a principle in a nutshell, and you can apply it anywhere. Same way, Chitta Vritti Nirodha iti Yogaha. What is yoga? Chitta Vritti Nirodha. It is a formula. You apply it like E is equal to mc square. You take it, Chitta Vritti. Chitta means mind, Vritti means thoughts, Nirodha means absence, Yoga means yoga, union. So, you can expand that. You can write books on it. So, these are sutras. So, here Bhagwan, where are we? Till where did we do it? Then Brahmaji, remember the creator, he got he contemplated on the silence, he got Om. Om became the vowels and the consonants, they came about as words. Now, what will he, if he is all by himself, there is no one to speak for him, does he need a language? No. So it was only Om. So then from inside the inspiration came. Just like from inside you the hunger comes. From inside you the itch comes. I must trouble my brother. Long time I have not troubled him. Do you do that? Sometimes feeling comes. It used to come to me. Like in the morning class, Sanskrit class, there is one small boy. He started coming when he was just at the end of, when he was 7 years old. Now he is 8. And he will not study Sanskrit. He will just sit there and muck around. He is very joyful. Name is Vedanta. But doesn't want to study. Doesn't like to write. So, and his sister takes him for a ride. And we all, there are other 6 kids, we all take him for a ride. So, Vedanta, why did you not write? I am joking. If I raise my voice a little bit, if I tell him, why did you not do homework? Why did you not do this? If you ask him why, he will go into his shell. And the moment he goes into shell, oh, someone is crying here today. I am not crying. Can you see someone crying? Can you hear someone sobbing? Can you see someone tears? His sister will go and touch. Yes, Swamiji, little bit. And poor fellow, every class he cries a little bit. Everyone takes him for a ride. But then we make it up also. So, our communication can only happen if there is another person. Brahmaji, the creator, he was alone. He had no one to communicate to. But his job description is to create. So from inside the desire came, I must create. So he created the first people. Who were they? No. Forgot last week. No. Sanat Sananandan. The 4 brothers. Brahmaji has 4 heads. He created 4 sons. Their names were Sanat, Sanatan, Sanak and Sanandan. And these boys, he gave them the knowledge. What knowledge he gave? He gave them the Om. And they were so in tune with their father. and the Father was in tune with his source, which is the Lord, which is the divinity. He was so in tune that they got all the knowledge. Then creation can only happen when? Creation can happen when you have a desire. If you have a desire, you will go to Makarov. If you have a desire, you will go to Nosal. If you don't have a desire, you will not you will not study also, like me. But you have to have a desire, then you will get married. If you have to have a desire, then you will have kids. So, Sanatana, these four brothers, when they were born devotees of the Lord. They did not have desire to get married to anyone. They said, we don't even want to grow. So they were continuously, they are 10, 12 years old. Then Brahmaji said, the creator said, what to do, man? I experimented, but they are also devotees of the Lord, and who will do the creation? Okay, let me do second experiment. Then he created Narad Muni. Narad Muni he created, and this young man, he was expert. He learned he invoked the music. There are 64 knowledges. What are 64 knowledges? There is music, there is dance, there is science, there is etymology, there is Jyotish, there is Ayurveda, there is, what are you studying? North Indian music, South Indian music, like that, medicine, and then how to rule a country, the science of weaponization, the science of arms and ammunition. There are many different arts. 64 different arts are there, and he became a master of it, all of them. And when he became master, he thought he is the boss man. He knows everything, but in his heart there is still some emptiness. He feels he is not complete. The desire is not going. He is not feeling fulfilled. So the moment this feeling comes, sometimes when you feel hungry, you feel inside, and then that pulls you, kitchen pulls you towards it then. Mummy, you have something to make, have something to chew, something to nibble. So same way, this Narad Muni, he was thinking, is there something more that I need to do? Why am I not feeling fulfilled? Why am I not feeling at peace? That very moment, his elder brothers came, the four brothers. They said, yes, why you are not fulfilled is because you have not experienced love. You have not experienced love. Now, what love do we know? The love we know is from another person. We know love from our parents. We know love from our friends. We know love for our children. We know love for our wife or husband. That is the only physical love we know. But that can never be fulfilling. That's why people divorce. That's why, like Bob Jane T. Mart, if you know, have you heard of Bob Jane T. Mart? The son took his father to court and grabbed the whole business. Where's the love? The father gave birth to the child. But see what happened? So, then which is this love we are talking about? This love can come in our heart only when we think of the divinity. So these Sanatan, these four brothers, they teach their younger brother Narad Muni about the Lord. He says, which Lord? What Lord? He says, chant Om Namo Narayanaya. And he started chanting, and he became one of the greatest devotees of the Lord. But then, when he became devotee of the Lord, he decided, I am not going to get married. I don't want physical love. I want love for the Lord. It is fulfilling. See, when do you want food? You eat food, you become, after some time the food get digested, again you want food. Then it get digested, then you want dinner. Then it get digested, again you want breakfast. So similarly, if you got love from your wife or from your parents, if you got love from your parents, why will you want love from your husband or wife? If you got love from husband and wife, why would you want children? It is because you are still unfulfilled. Or another way we can put, because it is an expansion, expression, like Brahmaji is doing. Huh? So this Narad Muni, he also became a celibate. He didn't want to get married. Now Brahmaji said, yaar, ye to gadbad ho gayi. Why all this is happening? Everything, now 2 times I have experimented, they don't want to get married. Then he created Sapta Rishis. They are all from his mind. Just like in the dream we create all the people in the mind, isn't it? They don't come from outside, they come from our mind. Same way. The Brahmaji created the Sanat Kumaras, he created the Narad Muni, then he created the Sapta Rishis. And to these Sapta Rishis, now, what is his name? Brahmaji, he gave them the various parts of the Vedas. Then but these Sapta Rishis also, they are always involved in in thinking about the Lord only. Then afterwards he created, now what to do? How do I expand? Then comes, someone said, what you said? Manu and Shatarupa. Then came Manu and Shatarupa. Then the expansion happened. But first came the Sapta Rishis. And to these Sapta Rishis, till here we came. To these Sapta Rishis, the knowledge was given of the Vedas, different sections of the Vedas to different Rishis, and 5,350, 70, 80 years ago, from today, that means before Christ, Maharishi Vedvyas, he brought all these rishis together, and they were all over the planet. He brought them all together. Majority of them must have been in India, because it was the center of learning. Maharishi Vedvyas was in India. If you go to Badrinath, 12,000 feet high, nobody, you have come, no. You have to go there. The cave where Maharishi Vedvyas sat and wrote all the Vedas and the Puranas, it's still there. Still there. You go there, all hair stand, it's so vibrant. And right next to the Saraswati river. See how significant. Saraswati is the river of knowledge. Where is it coming from? No known source. There is no water anywhere. In the mountain there is a big hole like this. It's completely rock. And big hole like this whole room. And from that, the end, water is just pouring out, and it has become a river. And it goes for 1.5 kilometers, then merges into the Alaknanda. But where? From inside a mountain, how come so much water is coming? Nobody has been able to work it out yet. See? From where are the thoughts coming in your mind? Have you been able to work it out? No. Same way. Now, so these Maharishi Vedvyas, 5,400 years ago, he got all these rishis together, and each one was writing, or was how they used to communicate this knowledge which was given to them by the Creator, by word of mouth. He used to say it to his disciple in the ear, and the class is going on, like I do with Sanskrit, everyone follows me. And now, for example, if I say, when you all started with Bhagavatam, you did not know Satchidananda Rupaya, so you keep trying to lip sync with me. Satchidananda Rupaya Vishwotpatyadi Hetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Numaha. And those who are learning how to sing, when you listen to your teacher, you try to mimicry it. And There is no paper, there is nothing, and you listen, and you try to recreate. The teacher corrects. No, this matra is wrong, that matra is wrong, bring it down, bring it up, and eventually you get it. Then practice. And practice, when does it become perfect? Only when you practice brahmacharya. So it is very important that we must not lose our vital energies when we are young. Till 24-25 years age, we must practice brahmacharya. We must not lose our energies. Make your mind focused on this energy and see what a wonderful personality that will unfold after that. Then you get married and do, have children and everything. But till then, hold on to the energy. Allow it to purify you. And don't use that energy for drinks and drugs. Use that energy for studying the Vedas, chanting the name of the Lord, reading the scriptures. And very quickly, because that energy, that powerhouse is within you, it has not been leaked out of your system. You listen to it once and understanding takes place. For the one who has got a leak all the time, you tell him 100 times, he cannot understand. These are dull-witted fellows. So keep the energy together, keep the vitality together, both men and women, boys and girls. Very, very important. This only parents can teach. This nobody else can teach. Because nowadays children are not going to Gurukul, they are staying with the parents. So parents have to teach that. See? And then today what we see as Vedas, that big book which is there, if you want I can send you the entire Vedas in e-form, e-book. So the way we see it compiled today is the work of Maharishi Vedvyas. This Maharishi Vedvyas is the one who compiled all the Vedas, who wrote all the Puranas, who wrote Mahabharata also. Okay? This is the information. Now you can go up. Enough for today. If you want to continue, you can continue sitting. Now, today, I think we are starting from verse 48, isn't it? Because now it is going into what each one taught and all that. So, and then what did they do? Like you all, which Gotra you are from? Huh? Shiva Gotra. Which Gotra you are from? Kaushik Gotra. You are from Bhardwaj. Some people are from Atri, some people are from Kashyap. So, these are all the rishis. So when you say that I am from Bhardwaj Gotra or Kashyap Gotra or Kaushik Gotra, what does it mean? That what knowledge was revealed to that particular rishi has been passed on generation after generation after generation after generation. Because remember, these rishis were the mind-born sons of Brahmaji, the creator. Before that there was no creation. So they gave it to their son gave it to their sons gave it to their sons, and slowly over the centuries now it has come to you. That is why in our culture they keep this, so that you feel proud, you feel that you are not alone. Behind you is the entire lineage all the way to the rishi. And if that rishi was Kashyap, then that teaching is there. If it was Kapil, that teaching is there. If it was Atri, that teaching is there. And every rishi, if you read their stories, they really inspire you, what all they can do or what they have done, how they have made the earth to come into balance, how they have shared their knowledge and expanded the creation for the better, not for destruction, but for the better. Then when we say, oh, I am from this particular Gotra, from this particular Rishi, then can I act contrary to what my ancestor, meaning the Gotra which Rishi I am belonging to, should I do something contrary to that? No. I must live up to that. Then I must practice that. Then I must live that. See? So this, so received from generation to generation in the course of the 4 yugas by the pupils of the various sages, pupils who observed the vow of lifelong celibacy. Again, control of vitalities. I am telling you only till 25. But if you are living in this world, at least do that much. You see a wonderful personality, a wonderful countenance, a wonderful, what do you call? Everyone will like to be with you because you are vibrant. There are no hang-ups in your head then if you are controlling your vitalities. If you are not controlling your vitalities, too many hang-ups. What did that person, why is that person looking at me like this? This is a hang-up. Why nobody said, why nobody gave any likes on the Facebook today? Hang up. Oh, I'm not loved anymore. Hang up. Then you will do what? Then you will look for attention and you will do unwanted things for attention in life. This is not a sign of maturity. This is not a sign of a integrated person. Integration at the initial level comes at physical level, and integration at physical level is only possible through control of your vitality, not anything else. Then second, when vitality is controlled, the next physical level is the speech. Then let this speech not be about the world, but it is about the scriptures and the name of the Lord. Then the physical becomes integrated. Then when that gets integrated, slowly you go, you are still young, you have not reached 25. Then you go into the mind. The mind starts integrating because you are continuing the practice, continuing to control the energies, not allowing them to leak out. See? So all these pupils, celibacy in order to, see, I am not saying it, see what Bhagavatam is saying. Pupils who observed vow of lifelong celibacy, we are saying till 25 at least, in order to retain their memory, in order to retain the knowledge in their memory. So how does memory increase? How does memory increase? Is it by remembering? How much do you remember? Day before yesterday, what did you have for lunch? Day before yesterday. You know your score? Do you get A plus, B plus, A minus, all that? No. Waste of time. Okay, how many years old were you last year? Huh? Last year? 14. What about only she? You don't know? See? 8. He's still thinking. You are 10. Now you are 11. Who remembers when they were born? Who remembers? No, I did. Don't rephrase my question. Who remembers when they were born? That's my question. It's for the adults also. You said yes? You remember coming out of mummy's womb? What was the question? Who remembers when they were born? क्या कर रहा है? ये तो पॉसिबल है, बट आम आदमी को नहीं पता चलता. So, when you study in school, while we are here, when you are studying in school, whatever teacher says, are you able to understand it in the first go, or you need to take it, come back home, think about it, and maybe then it clicks, or maybe after next, when you go to the next year, then it clicks what you studied in the last year. Which one?
Sometimes not the next year.
Okay.
Sometimes I understand in the middle of doing something.
Okay. What about you girls? Say loudly, I can't hear you.
It really depends on the subject.
Okay. What about you? Yeah?
Yeah, it depends on the subject, but like sometimes I go home and then I like do like homework and then that's when I
It clicks. Okay. If we memory comes only because we have harnessed, where does power come from? In when you build a dam, you got the collection of water behind the wall of the dam, then you can use that dam. It can become destructive or it can become constructive. You can use that water which has been harnessed for irrigation, for sports purposes, for water skiing, etc., etc., for generation of electricity. But just river is going, water is wasted, na? Same way, when we control our vitality, that vitality, when applied for knowledge, towards knowledge, it comes across as memory. You will not forget things. You will remember wherever you put attention. And it's not that you don't have to work too hard. Like Mahatmas, for example, they don't have to. They just stand in front of a person and don't know the person, what is going on in that person. How come? They have kept their energies together. There's no dissipation of energy. There's no. How does it happen? The lesser the energy, more the doubt. More the energy, lesser the doubt. Simple rule. Simple rule. So here the Sut Maharaj is clearly saying that by maintaining celibacy, brahmacharya, in order to retain them in their memory, because in those days there were no books to go and refer to, there was no internet. The teacher used to say it in the ear of the student, and the student had to repeat it and remember it. There was no written letter at that time. It was only spoken word. And then as the pupil, the student became old, then he became the guru, then he gave it to his disciples, and that's how it has come up till now. And then he says here that the aforesaid Vedas were later on divided by the great seers into some Samhitas, Brahmanas, and so on at the end of the Dwapara age. So these Vedas were one whole unit till the Dwapara age. How many yugas are there, you know? You know? 4. First, Satya Yug, the age of truth. Second, Satyug, Treta Yug. Treta Yug. So Satyug, everyone was divinely oriented. Treta Yug, everyone was divine, but there were desires. And in Treta Yug, everyone, I will not go too much into detail now, degeneration is happening. Energies are being leaked. They are not as focused. Well, that is the nature. Just like you wake up, you dream, you sleep, you wake up, you dream, you sleep. You don't want it, but it is happening, no? Even if you want to remain awake because you are enjoying the movie, but still sleep comes sometimes. Sometimes you want to sleep, you wake up, you can't sleep. Same way. So, from Satya came Treta. From Treta also, the Vedas were as one unit. In Dwapar, then they were divided into the various sections, the Karma section, the Upasana section, and the Upanishad section. And at the end of Dwapar, the third, which ended 5,500 years ago, at the end of Dwapar, Maharishi Vedvyas put it the way we know it today. And in Kali Yuga, what is happening? We don't want to study Vedas.
Speakers and CDs.
We don't want to listen to masters. We don't want to listen to teachers. We don't want to control our energies. We don't want to be focused. We want to have fun. The girls want to have fun. Hey, we want to have fun. वो गाना एक है ना, some song is there. Vedas. So today what we see, we are studying Upanishads, we know the Brahmana part, which is all the ritualistic part. Then when you chant the Purusha Suktam, Narayana Suktam, Durga Suktam, Rudram, all this comes in the Upasana part. That is that part of the Vedas where your mind gets, first you do the physical part, the Havan Home, the fire sacrifice. If the attention is in the right direction, then you automatically move on to the next stage, which is the Suktams or the Upasana, where you remember the divine, the expanse of the divine, his attributes of the divine, rather than what I have to throw into the fire, in what manner I have to throw into the fire, at what time I have to throw it into the fire. Instead of that, your focus is now on the mantra. Then if we are doing that also in the correct manner, then our attention goes to the even higher. And what is that? To the Upanishads. And from God, from the God principle, then we come to the infinite reality which the Upanishads talk about. Perceiving the men to be short-lived. So Maharishi Vedvyas, why did he put it in paper like we know it today? Because he knew stupids were going to be born. So we all come under the category of stupid, because our memory is not strong. Our memory is not strong. Our purity is not at the required level. Our vitality, energy is not at the required level. You know, how do you know how if you have energy or not? You know how? In the morning, the moment you wake up, do you jump out of the bed, or you keep like a snake, keep going on the bed? Another 2 minutes, another 1 minute, another 5 minutes. If you are doing that, you are lazy. Eyes open and you jump out of the bed, straight to toilet, bathroom, brushing teeth, etc., etc. And first thing, what? Light the lamp, sit with yourself, sit with the divine, sit to do pranayam, sit to contemplate on the divine in meditation. Because those are the ways. Early in the morning, if you do the first thing in the morning, you are keeping the energies intact. And with that intact energy, then you jump into the world. By going to school, by going to work, by doing whatever is required to be done. But in the morning only we get up at 10 o'clock. It's a long weekend, I want to sleep in. Mummy, can I have breakfast for one day in my bed? I will brush after the breakfast, not before. This sign of laziness, this sign of procrastination, this is sign of lack of vitality, lack of energy, lack of focus. Focus doesn't come by I'm focused. I'm focused. What are you focused on? How many likes are coming? I'm focused on that. If you are focused on how many likes, you will become defocused totally. Focus only comes when you think about something higher, not something lower. And who is higher? Very simple. Either you think of the earth, higher than earth is water, higher than water is fire, higher than fire is air, higher than fire, air is space, higher than space is God, higher than God is the infinite reality. Think that way. But we begin the day in the wrong way. We got kids, they get up at 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock. That's not the way to live. Why? Leaked energies. Simple, that is the only answer. Nobody has taught them. This is a general problem in the society. Not why people take drugs, take alcohol, smoke, become irritable. They have got no patience with regards to any damn thing. It's only because of this one thing, no brahmacharya. If brahmacharya is there, straight away you can see the vibrancy in a person, the enthusiasm with which he lives in life, that you can see. And where can you see it? You can't see it in the legs, you can't see it in the hands, you see it in their eyes. You see it in the tejas on their face. See? So, perceiving the men to be short-lived, in Kali Yuga, people are going to be short-lived. I think Kali Yuga is over, because I told you last week that 50, 70, 80 years ago, people used to live only 35 years. Now they are living more than double the length of the age. 85 years, 9. People don't die. Children are saying, when are you dying? They are not, parents are not dying. Elders are not dying. Because medicines are popping them up. But long life, whichever way, lifespan has increased, isn't it? So, short-lived, deficient in energy and dull-witted due to the action of time in the form of unrighteousness prevailing in it, the Brahmana seers rearrange the Vedas as directed by the immortal rod residing in their heart. In this manner, these Maharishi Vedvyas, along with all the various rishis, they put the Vedas, etc., in the format that we see today for our benefit, not for their benefit. They were experts at it anyway, for our benefit, because they knew stupid people are going to be coming in the future generations. Idiots are going to be born. Dull-witted fellows are going to be born, who are only into I and mine, who are only into property, who are only after money, who are only after opposite sex, who are only after gold, who are only after food. They are living only at the gross level. They are not living for the higher. So, how does this stupidity express itself? When we forget the divine, stupidity starts. Ignorance begins. Correct? The more you think of the divine, slowly, stupidity gives way to knowledge. This is a simple formula. Enough dose today? You want to go up? No? Okay, continue. They're trying to please me. Okay, now from here we begin our 48th verse. Today we have to start from here. अस्मिन्नप्यन्तरे ब्रह्मन् भगवान् लोकभावनः ब्रह्मेशाद्यैर्लोकपालैः याचितो धर्मगुप्तये पराशरात् सत्यवत्याम् अंशाशकलया विभुः अवतीर्णो महाभाग वेदं चक्रे चतुर्विधं ऋगथर्वयजुस्साम्नां राशीनुद्धृत्य वर्गशः चतस्रसंहिताश्चक्रे मंत्रैर्मणिगणा इव. I think we'll do it till here and then we'll read the again afterwards. अस्मिन् अप्यन्तरे ब्रह्मन् भगवान् लोक भावनः ब्रह्मेशाद्यैर् लोकपालैः याचितो धर्मगुप्तये descended from the loins of the sage Parashara through Satyavati in the form of Vedavyasa, representing a ray of Sattva forming a part of Maya, the divine potency as prayed to by Brahma, Shankara and the other guardians of the spheres for the vindication of the righteousness. O Brahmana says in the current Manvantara 2, the Almighty Lord, the life giver of the universe, divided the Vedas, O blessed one, into 4 parts. Who did? Maharishi Vedyas. Who is Maharishi Vedyas? Last time I told you the story of it, isn't it? Parashar was crossing the river. Did I tell that story last week? So I will not repeat it. So that time the whole universe, the stars, the planets, the nakshatras, they came, a moment of utter auspiciousness came about, and that time Parashar was with Satyavati, who was the fisherman's daughter, and he said, it is the most auspicious moment and a great soul is waiting to be born. Are you ready? She says, but I am a virgin. He said, don't worry, after the birth also you will continue to be virgin. And she says, it is my, it's my honor that a great sage is asking a fisherwoman who is not even educated, she was a Shudra, to be the mother of such a soul. And the Vedvyasji was born, and from Vedvyas came the Shukdevji Maharaj. Shukdevji Maharaj was giving the 7 days lecture to Parikshit. So this is the connection. And this Maharishi Vedvyas then divided divided the Vedas into the 4 parts. Then Parasharat, we saw that already. What are they? He says, picking out and classifying in 4 distinct groups the multitude of mantras belonging to the categories of Ruk, Atharva, Yajus and Sam. That means Rugved, Yajurved, Samaved and Atharvaved. Atharvaved was the last one. The foreigners are telling that it was added 600-700 years ago, 800 years ago. We don't accept that. It was added later on. Before it was only, why? How do we know? Do you have Ekavedi Brahman? No. You had Dvivedi? Yes. In UP you can hear Dvivedi surname. Trivedi? Many. Chaturvedi? Also many. I'm just making, not because of that 4 Vedas were there. But the 4th one may have come later on, because that is where the Tantra and all that comes in. So, here he says that, but at that time, the 4 Vedas were already there. They took all the writings that each one was chanting into the various teachers knew, they put it on paper, then they said, okay, so I may be practicing certain parts, you may be practicing certain parts, you may be practicing, which part? So I think all these fall into Yajurveda. Oh, I think it did not, because one person said no. It was a collective thing. All the sages, saints, rishis, they all got together, and a lot of thinking must have gone behind it, which we stupid cannot understand at this moment. But they did it, and that's how we have what we have today. तासां स चतुरः शिष्यान् उपाहूय महामतिः एकैकां संहितां ब्रह्मन् एकैकस्मै तदौ विभुः पैलाय संहितामाद्यां बहवृच्चाख्यामुवाचः वैशम्पायन संज्ञाय निगदाख्यं यजुर्गणं साम्नां जैमिनये प्राह तथा छन्दोगसंहिताम् अथर्वाङ्गिरसीं नाम स्वशिष्याय सुमन्तवे पैलस्वसंहितामूच इन्द्रप्रमितये मुनिः वाष्कलाय सोऽप्याह शिष्येभ्यः संहितां स्वकां चतुर्धाव्यस्य बोधयाय याज्ञवल्क्याय भार्गव पराशरायाग्निमित्रे इन्द्रप्रमितिरात्मवान्. We'll stop here. So then he continues to say what? First they divided it into Rug, Atharva, Yajus and Sam. As various kinds of gems are assorted into so many groups, the said Maharishis compiled 4 samhitas or collections out of those mantras. From all those mantras, samhitas are collections. Just like when you are having a necklace or even a flower necklace or the जो अपने जो बांधते हैं, तो उसमें you can have only one type of flower, or you can have many different. You see Balaji, Tirupati, when they put the mala around, what beautiful creations they make, what beautiful mala is the same, but the combination of colors and the flowers, it make every time it is a unique one. It brings out the beauty of the Lord also, isn't it? It not even brings out the beauty, it adorns the Lord, it makes the Lord even more beautiful. Same way, it requires you to know which spices to put in a particular dish to bring out the flavor of the food. Isn't it? Same thing, but you can't use all the things in everything, it will be the same taste. You can't use the same amount in everything, it will taste the same, it will not be the same way. किसी में what is the nature of that particular vegetable, what spice will go with that, which will enhance and bring out the flavor of it. Same way, just as this necklace or this. So different sutras, different mantras were brought together so that they became a beautiful garland of verses, chantings, and a theme was created, and that became one particular collection. And this is how Rug, Yaju, Sam and Atharva came about by these rishis. Then he says in the 51st verse, तासां स चतुरः शिष्यान् उपाह्यूय महामतिः एकैकां संहितां ब्रह्मन् एकैकस्मै ददौ विभुः. Summoning in his presence 4 of his foremost pupils, Paya and others, the powerful Vyasa of mighty intellect imparted one of those collections to each, O Shaunaka. So who are these? He gave it to Paya. So who are the disciples of Vedvyasji? One was Paya or Paila, second is Vaishampayana, third is Jaimini, and fourth is Sumantu. So these were the 4 disciples who are rishis in their own right. It was not just like when a seed from a banyan tree falls and wind takes it away, it also becomes a banyan tree, it also gives shade, it also gives protection, it also becomes home for so many birds and people, and gives wood and produces oxygen and uses carbon dioxide, isn't it? So same way the Shishyas also were gurus in their own right. So here, who are these? He Samhita under, he taught, they say, the very first Samhita under the name of Bahavruchakhyam Uvachah. Pailaya Sanhitam Madhyam Bahavruchakhyam Uvachah. So to Paila he gave the first Samhita, and because consisting of a collection of riks or psalms, and the body of sacred texts in prose. So first, which was in rik, they were in psalms को क्या बोलेंगे? Prose, is it? Psalms is not prose. Is it prose? No. Maybe. Anyway, he gave it to Paila, and then the text in prose. Next one is saying what? Vaishampayana Sanyaya Nigadrakyam Yajurganam. The prose he gave it to, prose which comes in Yajurveda, he gave it to Vaishampayan. The body of sacred texts in prose recited during sacrifices and bearing the name of Nigada prose to another named Vaishampayana. So these prose part he gave it to Vaishampayana. Then third, what did he give to Jaimini and Sumantu? Sam Nam Jaimina Ye Praha Tatha Chandoga Samhitam Atharvangi Rasim Nama Swashishaya Sumantave. Then he taught the body of Sama or songs going by the name of Chandoga Samhita, because sung in various meters to Jaimini, and in that comes the Chandogya Upanishad. And the fourth called Atharvangi Rasi to his fourth pupil Sumantu. Thus, then 54th verse, Pailaswa Samhita Mucha Indra Pramitaye Munihi Vashkalaya Cha Sopyaha Shishyebhya Samhitam Swakam. In the 54th verse he says that the sage Paila taught his own Brihadvacha Samhita in two parts, one each to Indra Pramiti and Bashkala. The latter, that is Bashkala, also divided into two parts, and divided his branch into four parts, and taught one each taught one each, O scion of Bhrigu, to the disciples Bodhya, Yajnavalkya, Parashara and Agnimitra. See? So what is happening? One Ved was given to one disciple. One disciple gave it to, he divided that one Ved, the different parts of the Ved, to two disciples. That two disciples, here it says, one of them divided into four parts and gave it to his four disciples. And this is how it kept breaking up into smaller and smaller and smaller parts. Actually it is one. And in this way, Indra Pramiti, a man of self-control, taught his collection to the learned sage Mandukeya, and his pupil was Devamitra, who in turn imparted its knowledge to the sages Subhari and others. Adhyapavat Samhita Swam Mandukeyam Rushim Kavim Tasya Shishyo Devamitraha Saubharyadibhya Uchivan. Till here we are done. Now Shakyastat Sutta Swamtu Panchadhavasya Samhitam Vatsya Mudgalashalya Gokhalya Shishireshwadhat Jatu Karnyascha Tatshishya Saniruktam Swasamhitam Balaka Paija Vaitala Virajebhyo Dadau Munihi वाष्कली प्रतिशाख्याभ्यो वालखिल्याख्य संहितां चक्रे बालाय निर्भजः कासारश्चैव तां ददुः बहवृचा संहिता येता एभिर्ब्रह्मर्षिभिर्धृताः श्रुत्वैतच्छन्दसां व्यासं सर्वपापै प्रमुच्यते. Then in the 57th verse he says, Mandukeya's son was Shashkalya, who for his part divided his collection into 5 branches and taught them to his pupils Vatsya, Mudgala, Shailya, Gokhalya and Shishira. In the 58th verse, the sage Jatukarnya, another pupil of Shakalya, imparted the knowledge of his own collection in 3 parts as well as of its Nirukta, explanation of obscure words, to his 4 pupils Balaka, Paija, Vaitala and Viraja. Then in the 59th verse, Bashkala's son Bashkali made out all the aforesaid branches, the collection bearing the name of Valakhilya Samhita. His pupil Balayani, Bhajya and Kasara learned and memorized it. In the 60th verse, by these Brahmana sages were learned and preserved the Samhitas forming part of the Rig Veda. Hearing of the classification of these mantras of the Vedas, one is completely absolved from all sins. See, just like once upon a time, Parikshit, they say, was the ruler of the whole world, of this whole earth. He was the emperor, Parikshit. When he went away, whom did he give it to? Whose it became? His son. Who was he? Janmejay. What did Janmejay do? He gave it to his sons. How many sons? He did not have one son, he had many. Then what did he do? He divided the various lands and he gave it to, suppose he had 4 sons, he made 4 parts and gave it to 4 sons. Now, how many? Before it was 1 kingdom, now it is 4 kingdom. Then, naturally, each son had his children. Suppose one had 2, one had 4, one had 6. Then what did they do? They divided their kingdom into different parts depending upon how many sons they had, isn't it? That's how today's farmer has only 500 by 500 meters, one small little bit piece of land, and he's supposed to survive on it. How does he survive? What happened? Families were very large because they needed hands to farm. But when the father went away, 6 kids, 7 kids, if the father had 10 acres, now they got only 1 acre. On 1 acre you cannot survive. This is from land point of view. Same way, once upon a time, India was called from where? From Afghanistan, Iran, all the way from Iran, all the way up to Cambodia, it was India. No, before British. British, they came afterwards. It is before British. Even Indonesia was part of India. Burma, Indonesia, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, everything was part of India once upon a time. But then, as the time went by, kept breaking, and today it is only this much. And then we fight, where is the Kashmir? Why Indian map, the Kashmir will be shown. Other international map, Kashmir will not be shown. Why? Why don't you say, we want to continue with the map as it was before 1947? Because that was called India, which was inclusive of Pakistan and Bangladesh. So that time Sanatan Dharma was there. Now today what is happening? It is less. Same thing has happened. Now I gave all those examples how one knowledge, one information slowly got divided as it was passed on. But whoever listens to these mantras, whoever chants these mantras of the Vedas, whether it be Rig, Yajur, Sam or Atharva, chant the Upanishads, chant the Rudram, chant the Purusha, Narayana, Ganapati, Atharva, Durga. Here the scripture, the Bhagavatam, is clearly saying is completely absolved of all sins, provided they do it for purification. They do it as an offering to the divine. They do it with bhav. Not to prove something to someone. They do it with this bhav that every time I read it, I try to perfect it even further. Whatever unknown mistakes are there, I must be alert to that. I must correct. There is no end to correction because this creation is not perfect. Because everything that is born must die. So everything that comes out, today I have learnt it, tomorrow I forget, again I have to learn it. Try anything. Learn Hanuman Chalisa and don't make him chant Hanuman Chalisa for next 2 months. He'll forget after 2 months. Again, Swamiji, I didn't practice, I didn't try. See? This is how it is. So we have to practice with bhav and continuous application that we must move towards perfection. Perfection not necessarily in chanting or diction. Our attention is on the source. And when we come closer to the source, the expression will automatically be perfect. It will not be required also afterwards. But as long as we are putting efforts, we must exert to be perfect. And we must do that with joy and enthusiasm. Not out of, again satsang is there, again I have to sit for 1 hour, again I have to listen to the same examples, again I have to listen to the same Bhagavad Gita, again I have to, Acha chalo, I will listen to, anyway how does Swamiji know I am in my bed? Because video is not on. Hey, I can't go to satsang because food is more important than satsang. So I prefer listen to the audio and sit in the bed and eat pakodas. What did you do tomorrow when you go to a party? Oh, I had a wonderful satsang yesterday. And what was your attention on? गोभी का आ रहा है क्या आलू का आ रहा है पकौड़ा सत्संग कौन सुनता है because if I ask what did we teach you to yesterday, they will not remember. But you are all not like that, I know. Why you are not like that? Because you come here. Anyway, okay, continuing, what is he talking about? This whole story of who it was passed on to. I'm just going to read it, okay? Quickly we'll read the mantras and it's just who gave what to whom. It is going on, we are talking about it because that is the question asked. Are you getting any benefit of it? Yes, if you listen to it. सब ऋषियों के नाम तो कान पे पड़ रहे हैं. You may not understand, but अच्छा ये भी पहला was a ऋषि. अच्छा वैशंपायन was a ऋषि. अच्छा he was disciple of Maharshi Vedya. I didn't know that. अच्छा something will click somewhere. और सुनना है तो ऋषियों के नाम सुनो. न्यूज़ क्या सुनते हो? वैशंपायन शिष्या वै चरकाध्वर्यवो भवन् यच्चेरु ब्रह्म हत्याः क्षपणं स्वगुरोर्व्रतं याज्ञवल्क्यश्च तच्छिष्य आहाहो भगवन् कियत् चरितेन अल्पसाराणां चारिष्येऽहं सदुश्चरम् इत्युक्तो गुरुरप्याह कुपितो याह्वलं त्वया विप्रावमन्त्रा शिष्येण मदधीतं त्याजाश्विति देवरातसुतस्सोऽपि छर्दित्वा यजुषां गणं ततो गतोऽथ मुनयो ददृशुस्तान् यजुर्गणान् यजूंषीति तित्तिरा भूत्वा तल्लोलुपतया ददुः तैतिरीया इति यजुः शाखा आसन् सुपेशलाः याज्ञवल्क्यस्ततो ब्रह्मन् छन्दांस्यधिगवेशयन् गुरोर्विद्यमानानि सुपतस्थैर्कमीश्वरम्. I'm just going to read it, it's all. So, as is well known, some pupils of Vaishampayan were known as Charakadharyus because they went through on behalf of their teacher a course of penance to expiate the sin of Brahmanicide. So they must have killed some Brahmana, and therefore the Vaishampayan, he told them to do this particular tapasya to atone for that sin which must have been committed by mistake, or and therefore they did that, and they were known as Charakadharyus. And to them, thereupon Yajnavalkya, another disciple of Vaishampayana, submitted to his preceptor, "Oh, of what account, venerable sir, will be the reward obtained through the penance of these pupils of yours of poor strength? I shall undergo a course of penance very difficult to practice." So Yajnavalkya did even greater penance than that. Yajnavalkya is the main person in the Chandogya Upanishad. So he did lot more penance. Then offended. Who was offended? The Guru Maharaj. Offended when addressed thus, the preceptor. Who is the preceptor? Vaishampayana. His disciple is. So some disciples, the Charakadharyus, they were doing tapasya for killing a Brahmana. Yajnavalkya, I don't know for what reason, jealousy, this, that, competition, comparison, he said, I will do even more greater tapas. And because he did it not with the intention of purification, but he did it with the intention of competition or comparison. So the Guru Maharaj became angry. They were perceptive ki why this fellow is doing. So here he says, offended when addressed thus, the preceptor retorted, "Get away from here. I have nothing more to do with you, a pupil contemning Brahmanas. Give up at once all that you have learned from me." So that Yajnavalkya, who had learned all the Vedic riches from the Guru Maharaj, Vaishampayan, whom did he get it from? He got it from Ved Vyasji Maharaj. So when he said, "You have offended me, you speak like this with the teacher, give it back whatever you took," immediately he vomited everything. Here it will come now. So vomiting the portions of Yajurveda which he had learned from his preceptor, Yajnavalkya, son of Devarata, too immediately left the place. So he vomited everything. हम भी ऐसे ही करते हैं ना, लेक्चर में जो सुन लिया बाद में अपनी बीवी को तंग करते हैं. Hey, Swamiji said like this, or the wife is checking on the husband. Is he speaking from integrity? Is he speaking from empathy? Is he speaking from compassion? Is he speaking from understanding? Is he self-controlled? It is to be applied on yourself, not on others. So Yajnavalkya got the knowledge and he spoke arrogantly to the teacher. The teacher told, vomit it. और अपने भी दिमाग में चलता है ना, सत्संग सुनते हैं एंड वी आर स्पीकिंग टू आवर सेल्स अगेन एंड अगेन एंड अगेन. समटाइम्स इफ वी आर लिसन टू सम न्यूज टू लॉन्ग, दैट न्यूज कीप्स गोइंग ऑन इन आवर हेड. व्हेन वी आर read Amar Chitra Katha for a long time, same story again and again and again. Now that story keeps going. Or if someone has got angry with you, oh, why did he get angry with me? What did I do? I did not do anything. Why you're talking? It's going on in your head. That is vomit. Our Chinmayananji used to say the mental diarrhea. Undigested food. So, information coming, if you digest it, becomes one with you. It becomes nutrition. When it doesn't become nutrition, what doesn't become nutrition, what happens? It comes out the other end. Toilet. This is the toilet of the mind. What is toilet of the mind? Unwanted thoughts going on in your mind. And therefore Yajnavalkya, he was also thoda khuddar tha. Guru Maharaj Adesh, give back what you gave. How to give? He vomited the whole thing. In other words, you can also say, what was that vomit? If I ask you, what did I tell you about the Vedas and the scriptures? You will tell me, no? Tell me, what did I tell you? And you will start telling me. You are vomiting, like I am vomiting right now. What am I vomiting? What I got from my teacher. It's the way of putting it. One is, he spoke wrongly to the teacher. Teacher thought, he said, give back what you gave. So, is it a real vomit? Or is it a verbal? He gave back. He told whatever he had learnt, he spoke it back to the teacher. Now you can take it, because it was secret knowledge. It was not given to everyone. So, Yajnavalkya was given whatever he was given by Vaishampayanji, and now he's been asked, give it back. So he has to speak, no? So he spoke back. Then what happened when he spoke back? No, not. Listen what happened. Vomiting the portions of Yajurveda which he had learned from his preceptor, Yajnavalkya, son of Devrata, too immediately left the place. Sages beheld those portions of Yajurveda and, greatly enamored of them, assumed the form of partridges and picked them up. Thenceforward, that attractive branch of Yajurveda came to be known by the name of Taittiriya Samhita, and Taittiriya connected with partridges. So, two ways you can listen. Again, think, if he literally vomited, all those other Mahatmas, disciples, what are the name? Charakadhvaryus, they immediately took the form of the partridges, the birds, and they ate away the vomit. Whatever they ate, they got the knowledge, because that was made up of knowledge. In other ways you can listen, say, because this knowledge was transferred from the mouth of the teacher to the ear of the student. And when the teacher says, give it back to me, he must have spoken. And when he was speaking, these Charakadhvaryus, they heard it and they kept it together, and that together became Taittiriya Samhita. See? Beautiful. You learn Taittiriya Upanishad. We chant. So wonderful. What a play. And just listening to it, if you understand the meaning, उसी समय बोलते बोलते ही ध्यान लग जाता है. So both ways I am telling you. So that's because it was taken by the birds, eaten, the vomit was eaten by the birds, it is called Taittiriya. Taittiriya is the name of the birds are called Taittiriya. Seeking to obtain additional Shrutis not known even by his preceptor, Yajnavalkya, O Brahmana, said, thereupon duly extolled the sun god, the master of the Vedas, as follows. तो देखो, अंदर से अभी अब competition है ये. You want to express, this is inborn in you and everyone. We are born like that. Because it is, you want to expand, you want to produce. So you produce children. अरे वेद को प्रोड्यूस करो, चिल्ड्रन प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हो. वी आर प्रोड्यूसिंग व्हाट? लेक्चर्स. अरे आत्मा को रिवील करो, लेक्चर्स दिए जा रहे हो. बट दैट इज हाउ इट इज. That is how nature. I'm just giving example. Nothing wrong in doing both, but that is how it is happening. So Yajnavalkya, he wanted to know more than what his guru knew. Now here the knowledge is not on the self. You can put it that way, or it is on the self, but self is infinite. Self is infinite. So knowledge can be infinite too, because cosmos is infinite. Today scientists are discovering more and more places. The telescope is looking deeper and deeper into space, which was not possible 20-30 years ago. Today it's unbelievable what photographs they have got of different aspects of the universe. Same way. So was that information not there? It was always there, but we were not having the equipment to access that. So Yajnavalkya says, I want to access more knowledge about everything, something that which my fellow disciples, my fellow students don't have, my compatriots don't have, nor my guru has. So who is the knower of the Vedas? So he goes to Sun God, because first the knowledge was given by the Lord to the Sun. So he goes to the Sun God. अब यहाँ पे जो है, there is no shlokas, it is all prose. ओम नमो भगवते आदित्याय अखिल जगत आत्मा स्वरूपेण काल स्वरूपेण चतुर्विध भूत निकायानां ब्रह्मादिस्तंबर पर्यंता नाम अंतर्हृदयेषु बहिः अपि च आकाश इव उपाधिना व्यवधीयमानो भवानेक एव क्षणलव निमेष अवयव उपचित संवत्सरगणेन आपामदान विसर्गाभ्यामिमां लोकयात्रामनुभवति. This is one sentence in Sanskrit. No full stop, no comma, no nothing. It's one sentence, and out of that, इतना बोला. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 31 alphabets make one word. 31 alphabets. This is small. There was another chapter somewhere. 3 lines it was there long ago. 3 lines. But you should know where to break. So what does he say here in the I'm not going to repeat it, okay? Even though it is, but it is fun. If you know a little bit of Sanskrit, you so Om Namo Bhagavate. Now there is one long word. What is that word? Adityaya Khila Jagatam Atma Swarupena. This is one word. But if you know, as I am chanting, you know which are the different words that are coming in, isn't it? Adityaya, you know the word. Akhila, Jagata, Jagatam, Atma, Swarupena. So, Sanskrit language is very conducive in utilizing space. It wants to do more and more with less and less. It wants to do more and more with less and less. Modern scientists want to do what? They want to know more and more of less and less. That is called specialist, isn't it? So if they want to know the kidney, he is a kidney specialist. He doesn't know anything about anything else. Only kidney. This is not in Sanskrit. The the more specific you are going, so from many thoughts I am going to one thought. Is my knowledge becoming less or becoming more? More. This is the difference between the modern science and our Vedic science. How we teach, how our Sanatan Dharma teaches us. That the more you become single pointed, the more expanded your mind is. The more you are focused, more you are concentrated, more purified you are, more expanded you are, more pervasive your mind is. See? So, same way, in a nutshell, like before I gave the example, E is equal to mc square is 1. But what is, if you tell someone who knows that sutra to talk about it, he can give so much lecture about it, isn't it? He can write thesis over it, he can do PhD on it, he can keep thinking his whole life. If Einstein could think about E is equal to mc square to discover it his whole life, imagine what these rishis who were scientists of life, they were scientists, how much joy they must be getting in their exploration. And in the result of that exploration was revelation. Now, nobody has ever during that period, now this is period between the Dwapar Yuga and the Kali Yuga, that time nobody has focused on the sun. Suryavanshi, Ram was Suryavanshi, Krishna was Chandravanshi. Now nobody is focusing on the sun and getting the knowledge. In those times it was their backhand knowledge, but nowadays very few. So Yajnavalkya says, I am going to focus on the sun who has the knowledge of the 4 Vedas. So what does he say? He prays. You can't say, hey, give me what you have. ऐसे थोड़ा होता है. डिमांड नहीं कर सकते, थोड़ा बटरिंग करना पड़ता है. ओम नमो भग आदित्याय, नॉट भगवते वासुदेव. ओम नमो आदित्याय. You are the greatest. You are the effulgent one. Hail to the Almighty Sun God, denoted by the sacred syllable Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Adityaya Akhila Jagatam Atma Swarupena Kala Swarupena. The entire nature as we are living on this earth is guided because of the sun, isn't it? The day, the night, the seasons, etc. The planets are moving around because of the sun. Shani is coming. Rahu is coming. Buddha is also coming. किसकी वजह से? सन की वजह से. So he says by the sacred syllable Om. Now science, somewhere someone sent me some WhatsApp. They said the sound of the sun is Om. Sound of the sun is Om. Sound of the space is Om. Actually, it is the space. Close your ears, you can hear it. Dwelling as the very soul of the universe in the heart of multitudes of created beings, falling under 4 categories. What are the 4 categories? Chaturvida Bhuta Nikayanam. What are they? Andaja, Swedaja, Jarayuja, and one more. What is that? Say loudly. Udbija. Udbija means that from which is born out of a seed, from the earth. Jarayuja, that which is born out of placenta. Andaja, that which is born out of egg. And what is the 4th one? Swedaja, that which is born out of sweat, the germs. Has the science been able to divide? 300 years ago they did, or maybe 100 years ago. This is thousands of years ago. we have to have a, a great feeling towards our culture, I feel. That's what took me to the ashram, to commit my life to it. Not because I was tired of the world, not because I could not have earned the money, not because I could not have get married, not because I could not have kids. No. To know where I'm coming from. What is the secret behind all this? What is our origin? What is the source? That comes by grace. It caught me. Yes, many challenges were there, many distractions were there, many obstacles were there, but you keep at it. Because every time challenge comes, what is more important, challenge or the ultimate goal? It always came the goal. Then I am ready to go through whatever obstacles come. Does not reduce my inspiration to live and seek. See? And not get caught up in anything what I am doing. खाओ भी, पियो भी, क्लास भी लो, सब कुछ करो, फंसो किसी में मत. That is important. Continuously, while whatever is going on, our attention must be on that infinite, on the abundance, on the totality. Isha vasyamidagam sarvam yat kinchit jagatyam jagat. That Ishvara gave the knowledge to this sun. So here he is not praying to Ishvara, he is praying to the sun. That immediate creation. What is the immediate creation? This world, life as we see on planet Earth. The other day someone asked me, Swamiji, do you believe in Jyotish? I said, yes and no. Why yes? Because if you are living on this earth and earth is in its orbit because of the sun and the various other planets, there is a pull and push force which is keeping the earth in its place, and the centripetal and centrifugal force. So if all other planets in this solar system are keeping the earth in its place, then whatever is on this earth, which is these human beings, will they not be affected by those forces? They will be. It's basic logic. So that's why our culture for thousands of years is praying to the Navagraha. They still are deciding whether Pluto is a planet or not a planet. There's still debate is going on. We already have the conclusion. Then why no? If you think you are the body, then body is affected by all these forces. Mind is affected by all these forces. But if you choose to focus the mind on that infinite which is beyond all these forces, then you are immune to all these forces. How you are immune to all these forces? Like you are, oh, I am so heavy, I ate so much, and after you are complaining, I am so heavy, I feel like a blob, I feel like a rhino, I feel like a hippopotamus, and then you go to sleep. Where? Here. And then dad has to pick you up to take you upstairs. Then he will know, yaar, she was telling right, she is feeling like a hippopotamus because she is so heavy, or he is so heavy. But in deep sleep, do you know your body? Do you know you are the child of the parents? Do you know how many years old you are? Do you know you ate food or did not eat food? Do you know how old you are? Do you know you are alive or not alive? You don't know anything in deep sleep, isn't it? And because you are not the body in sleep, therefore body becomes heavy in sleep when someone else lifts it. That's why dead man is very heavy when they take him to cremation. So nowadays they have the big cars to take it. Otherwise, राम नाम सत्य है, राम नाम सत्य है, मुर्दा बड़ा भारी है. मुर्दा बड़ा भारी है, राम नाम सत्य है. It becomes heavy. Why? Mind has dropped. It was thinking it was the body in deep sleep. It has dropped the body, so mind is not affected by the universe at that time. Or you are not affected by the universe. The spirit is not affected by the universe. But if the spirit thinks I am the body, he becomes the jiva. Then what does jiva do? When it is hot, why it is so hot? When it is cold, why it is so cold? When it is raining, why it is raining? When you got a child, why did I get a child? When I got married, why did I get this wife? Why did I get this husband? Why did I come to satsang? Always complaining. Why? He has taken the idea. Who complains? Why? I don't want to do this. I am not interested. I don't like it. Understand, Shani Maharaj is functioning. Then, when someone is always happy, always inspired, then you understand God's Son is functioning. He is always light, no darkness allowed. Okay, this is extra information. Now we come back to यार एक टिश्यू पेपर देना जरा. टाइम हो गया यार, कुछ ने बताया नहीं. क्या टाइम हो गया? हाँ, 8:20. So I'll just conclude with this thought. So we didn't do much today. Anyway, we are enjoying. So mammals, oviparous creatures, and it's written sweet born. It is not sweet, sweat born. Sweat born and those sprouting from the soil. So what are they? Jarayuja, Andaja, and Swedaja, and Udbija. These are the 4 types of births that we find on the planet. So here he says, under 4 categories, these were the 4, from Brahma down to the clump of grass, and outside too, as the wheel of time revolving in the form of years made up of minute parts like an instant, a moment, and the twinkling of an eye, yet unlimited by any condition like the sky. So if you remember, I can't remember which chapter it was, there the time was divided. They showed us how time came about. Nimisha is the time taken by one blink of the eye. That is the smallest unit of time. And then 6 of those or 5 of those become something else, and then it keeps multiplying, and eventually we come to the second. Then we come to second. Then minute, 60 seconds is minute, and so on. So all this is because of whom? Because of the sun. Life is because of whom? Sun. Photosynthesis because of whom? Sun. Seasons are because of whom? Sun. Sun is the cause of everything. Moon is because of whom? Sun. You can't see the moon, the tides and low tides and high tides if the sun is not there. So if you want to take it, I am like the sun. If you want to apply it on you, I am like the sun, mind is like the moon. Mind's nature is oscillation. My nature is like the sun. No, the light that is coming out of the sun never becomes less or more. All the time, continuous light. Same way, the light of the self, the Chaitanya Vastu, it's continuous, unstruck, not borrowed from, like moon borrows it from sun. We borrow it from sun and moon. So our Atma, the light of the Atma Jyoti, it is unstruck, it is self-effulgent. But here,
You're talking about sun and moon, but that's sun is solar system. But there are so many solar systems.
yeah,
There are so many suns and so many.
what's the point of thinking about that? We are functioning here. We are here. Understand the context. Yajnavalkya is wanting more knowledge. Can he get more knowledge about that which he doesn't know? Think. how many suns are there and how many earths are there. He doesn't know. How will he come to know? By contemplating on the sun that he doesn't know, or contemplating on the sun that he knows. And from then the sun, from there he can take the jump to Ishvara. Then he will come to know other suns also. So, knowledge can be gained from the immediate, whatever. I can't get knowledge from a guru who I don't know. I can come to know from the guru I know. I can't get knowledge from the scriptures that I don't know. I can get scriptures from the scriptures which I know, which I am exposed to. And out of them then I decide which I want to go after, which can take me to what my ultimate goal is. But here, he doesn't know what his goal is. Yajnavalkya doesn't know what his goal is. He wants something more than his Guru Maharaj. And he knows there are entities who are more intelligent than his Guru. And therefore he goes to the sun. And now he is praying to the sun. We'll just read one more line and then conclude. You maintain the progress of the world all alone by sucking in the hot season and releasing the moisture during the monsoon. This passage explains the meaning of the first foot of the Gayatri Mantra, Om Bhurvah Swaha. So, what comes afterwards? Again, long sentences. We will look at them in our next class. What is the topic that is going on? How did the Vedas come about and how many parts they are divided into? And that is the explanation that is going on. And this Yajnavalkya, you read, I have never taken Chandogya Upanishad. I have taken all other Upanishads. I have not taken Chandogya Upanishad. I have not taken Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. But these two are very big. Just like our Bhagavatam, 18,000 words. So many shlokas are there. So, and so many different sadhanas are there. So many different contemplations are there. Uske liye, I'll have to get myself ready for that. Ki bhai, I'm ready to dive into it. Or I have to do some study to find out how I can do an abridged version if there is one. Then it will be fun. But if you just, there is a book, I think I have that book, stories of Yajnavalkya or something like that. That is also very fascinating. Someday I'll read it to you when you are sleeping. On Zoom, lullaby stories. Realize in sleep. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. बोलो सब ऋषियों की जय, महर्षि वेदव्यास महाराज की जय, पराशर महात्मा जी की जय।